All right, Lion family, this is Coach Rose. I just got a couple of things I want to get across to players and parents. 2 points that I want to cover. One, the player expectations. I'm not going to go over all of them, but also the second thing I wanted to go over is about reorganizing the team, and I want to make sure parents understand what that means for our JV and our varsity. Based on the current environment we're living in, we feel like it's the right decision to kind of reorganize things for our varsity and JV. So, going back to the player expectations, one, I do want to kind of speak directly to the parents here and the kids as well. But I want us all to be on the same page and let parents know that we, of course, we do have expectations, and some of our players, have to, it has to be reinforced at home about their conduct. That's unbecoming of a War Hill student, let alone a football player, is very detrimental to their future. Of course, we want to keep each and every one of our players playing, and that means they got to conduct themselves in these hallways, in the classroom, in the lunchroom, wherever we are, even outside in the community. We want to conduct ourselves with high expectations. And one of the things that we try to, get across to our players, if it's a difficult, thing to do and remember all of our expectations, here's one thing that they can all remember, and that's our honor. Um, all of our players are, when we want them to meet expectation, is to weigh their decisions based on, honoring the game, team, and family. If they come to a crossroad where they don't know what decision to make, well, think about it this way. If I make this decision to do this, is that honoring the game? Is that honoring the team? Is it honoring my family? Will my family be happy with the decision I decide to make with whatever it is that I'm doing? There is a TikTok, and I want to make parents know that there's a TikTok, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, where kids are destroying property, they're stealing property, and they're engaging in this behavior. I'm asking parents to kind of keep a close eye on their kids at home to make sure that they're not engaging in this behavior that can certainly separate them from the team, whether the administration decide to do it or we do it as a program. That is certainly behavior that we don't tolerate. The theft of any property that, if anything that doesn't belong to them, which is part of our expectation and, policy, is that they don't steal anything, they don't take anything, doesn't belong to them, they shouldn't put their hands on it. That's what I believe as a coach. So I believe as a father and a parent, and I want to be an extension of whatever you're teaching at home. Hopefully, is that they're doing the right thing, conduct themselves where they can bring honor to the game, team, and family. So it starts with decision making, and that's the expectations that they make the right decisions that's going to keep them, as a upstanding student and player. So that's one thing I want to make parents aware of, and that our players shouldn't be engaging in that type of behavior. The other thing is reorganizing the JV and the varsity team, and the purpose of why we're doing it. Everything that we do for a purpose. There is a reason why we do it, and sometimes parents may not agree with it, kids may not agree with it, but we feel like it's the right thing to do for our players in the current situation that we find ourselves in, based on the environment. Everybody understands that COVID is messing everything up, and COVID has changed things. And if there's a positive test, then even the COVID protocol, yeah, that changes things for us when it comes to practicing, when it comes to our games. If the COVID people decide to go through after a positive COVID test to find out, to do the contact tracing, and one of our kids gets caught up in that whirlwind, they have to be separated from the team. And if there is a positive test on the team, then of course they do the contact tracing that could affect the team. So here's what we're doing. We are deciding to separate the JV from the varsity. There'll be a JV team. There'll be a varsity team. All the players that are practicing JV will practice and play JV, and will only practice and play JV. This is an effort to minimize the exposure, and at best, sort of prevent canceled practices and games. So, that's what's going to happen now for our players and the kids on our team. So players that are identified as JV will stay JV and play JV. Players that are identified as varsity will practice varsity and stay varsity. The question that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get from mostly sophomore parents is, what about my son that practices uh, varsity, but will they continue to play JV games? No. And that is a tough decision that we decided to make as a staff, and I supported it completely. I mean, I'm trying to minimize exposure. I'm trying to keep both seasons going, and not just me, but also our athletic director, Coach Mullen, and our principal, Dr. Carroll. We're trying to keep everything going for our kids. I'm especially, of course, concerned about our football team, and this is something that I've decided to go forward with is keeping the teams separate, and say, well, my kid is not going to get to play play any games. We feel like it's best that you know some of our sophomores practice with varsity. We feel like it will benefit them more as far as their improvement and their growth as a player if they continue to practice with varsity and maybe even get little or minimal time in varsity games. And I know that's very difficult to receive and understand, but I do need parents to know that this decision, of course, didn't come lightly, but it was for the benefit of the team and even the player individual. So we've identified those guys, and we're sending that list out if it hasn't already been sent out for varsity that will stay varsity, JV that will stay JV. The JV situation across the district is preached at the most, or unpredictable, or erratic, and we don't want to we kind of want to try to control our what we can control. So although the district JV is a little unpredictable, we're trying to at least keep this thing going and minimize the exposure from one player to another. So we have to keep the teams separate for now. If you have any questions about this, any concerns, please feel free to give me a call, email me. I'll be I'll call you back. I'll set up a Zoom, whatever. But I have no problem with reaching back out to you if you have any questions to explain it a little bit more. But JV will stay JV, varsity will stay varsity, and they'll practice and play JV if they're JV, and varsity will stay varsity if they're identified as varsity. They will practice and play varsity. They'll stay with varsity. There will be no switching. So if you have any questions, just contact me. Let me know. Lion Pride, Lion Proud.